What on earth are materia and what are they for? In this guide, we'll go through everything about materia, all the ways to get them, and all the ways you can use them. If you're looking for answers on something specific, you may find the timestamps helpful. Now then, what are materia? Effectively, materia are gems you can slot into your equipment to get an extra boost to your stats. These materia are of many different grades, with higher grades granting more stats and having higher item level requirements to your equipment to be slotted into them. Meaning that where the grade 1 materia has a requirement of an item level of 15, the grade 10 materia has a requirement of an item level of 560. Materia will only offer the so-called secondary properties that are found on equipment. To be specific, for combat jobs, this includes critical hit, direct hit rate, determination, tenacity, piety, skill speed and spell speed. For crafters and gatherers, it includes craftsmanship, gathering, control, perception, CP and GP. It used to be the case that attributes like strength materia existed, but this was phased out because of their dominating power, making the alternatives redundant. Now, how do you get materia? When you put on a piece of equipment and then use it for either combat, crafting or gathering, the item is permanently spirit bonded to you. This means that you can no longer trade the item, but this also starts your spirit bonding with the item. Once the spirit bonding reaches 100%, you can locate the item in the inventory grid by the green dot being replaced with a white dot. When an item is fully spirit bonded, you can use the Extract Materia option to reset it to 1%, meaning you still cannot trade it, and then receive a materia appropriate to the item. This means that combat jobs will receive combat materia, crafter gear receives crafter materia, and gatherers receive gatherer materia. Back before Shadowbringers, materia extraction was instead called conversion and actually deleted the item. This is not the case anymore, so don't worry. To unlock materia extraction, you need to complete the level 19 quest, Forging the Spirit. For a piece of equipment's spirit bonding percentage to increase, you need to wear it while doing appropriately difficult content. The easier the content is relative to the equipment's item level, the less spirit bonding progress you will make, eventually reaching a complete stop. For instance, doing a level 50 dungeon, even synced, will not progress your spirit bonding with a level 90 item. Additionally, an item already fitted with materia will spirit bond faster than one without. These two properties result in a genuine gatherer strategy where you use entry-level endgame gatherer gear, fully fitted with as much materia as possible, to do whatever gathering you want, as it results in more materia than using better gear. Now, that is not the only way to acquire materia. A common way to get combat materia is through dungeons, as treasure chests regularly will drop level appropriate materia. Doing certain things can also award clusters, which are items you can trade with specific NPCs to get whichever combat materia you want of the appropriate level. For gatherers and crafters, these items are instead called crystals. A very common way to acquire the combat clusters is through clan hunts and the adventurer in need. Materia can also be purchased for beast tribe currencies or clan hunt currencies, although in the latter case, only for combat materia. For beast tribes, they tend to sell materia that matches their job target, meaning they will sell gathering or crafting materia if their main subject is one of these. In place of clan hunts, gathering and crafting materia can also be purchased for scrips. Of course, all materia can also be traded and sold, so nothing prevents you from simply purchasing them straight out the market board. Now, with all that out of the way, what can we use materia for? The main way to use materia is of course to put it into equipment. In most places around the world of Eorzea, you will find materia melder NPCs that will, for a small fee, meld materia into your equipment for you. The only prerequisite is that the equipment satisfies the item level requirement of the materia, and that the piece of equipment also has a materia slot open to fit the materia in. When melding materia, you will see this window, which includes a list of the stats on the gear piece you have selected. Each of these stat values indicate how much the item currently has and how much it can have at most. Stats not currently listed on it will appear when you either add it with Materia or simply select a Materia with this stat in the menu. For stats that are never found on Materia, these numbers tend to always be equal, but for those found on Materia, it is usually only at most one of the properties that is fully maxed out. If you meld Materia on a piece of equipment that would exceed the maximum stat budget on the item, what will happen is that the Materia will only contribute the amount that the item can hold. Melded Materia that is not contributing its full value will indicate this by its describing text turning red, and this tends to be non-optimal, so try to avoid this. It is almost always better to get more of a less valuable stat instead. Once you have a crafting job, also called a Disciple of the Hand, at level 19, you can complete the quest Waking the Spirit to unlock the ability to meld materia yourself, avoiding the annoying fee for having an NPC do it for you. However, every item with materia slots will define a minimum crafter level to meld materia in it. You do not, however, have to match the crafter to the gear, so you can absolutely meld materia into your gear by cooking it on your pan. By extension of this, you can, at any point, request another player to meld for you. This allows you to show the item to your friend alongside the materia from your inventory, and then also allows you to offer a fee alongside it. Keep in mind that it costs nothing to perform materia melding, so the fee is mainly a courtesy. When your crafter reaches level 25, you can further unlock advanced melding by completing the quest Melding Materia Muchly, with this variation of melding only being available from player melding. Exclusive to crafted gear, you can still choose the melding option even if they're out of materia slots. This initiates overmelding, which is a riskier process. Crafted gear can always hold up to 5 materia in total, with the first materia beyond its initial capacity having no limitations. Crafted accessories tend to have 1 materia slot, and armor and weapons have 2. You can identify overmelded materia slots by the red materia icons, in contrast to the bright blue ones you normally expect to see. After the first overmeld, the strongest materia of each expansion is no longer available as an option. This means Stormbloods grade 6, Shadowbringers grade 8 and Endwalkers grade 10 will no longer fit. When overmelding, the probability of succeeding your meld is also no longer guaranteed, and failing consumes the materia. Weaker materia have higher success rates, although for combat jobs this is not that important, since if you want to overmeld in these cases, you want the best anyway. For gatherers and crafters, sometimes you want to meld something where the item cannot contain all the stats of the highest grade of materia anyway, and in these cases, using a lower grade to increase the success rate can be beneficial. Once a materia has been successfully overmelded into an item, you can view it as just as powerful as any other materia, as there are no further downsides attached to it. As most of the optimal gathering and crafting gear is crafted gear, it is very common to see this gear fully melted with 5 materia, commonly referred to as pentamelding. Before moving on to other usages of materia, let's talk about removing materia. If a piece of equipment has a materia melded onto it, you have access to the Retrieve Materia option, not to be confused with Extract Materia. Using Retrieve Materia will always with 100% certainty remove the most recently placed materia in a piece of equipment, and you can only remove them in the reverse order they were put in, so it is better to slot in materia you know you won't replace first, and then put the more iffy options in after. This is because when retrieving materia, while it is guaranteed to be removed from the item, it is not a 100% chance that you will receive the materia. Materia of the current expansion, which as of making this guide is grade 9 and 10, have only a 40% chance of retrieving the materia for you. All other materia have a 100% chance to be retrieved, so if you want to meld your gear for some extra stats, but cannot afford to go the full mile every time, you can always use grade 8 instead and safely transfer them from old to new gear as you find better ones. Now, if you have a bunch of materia that you do not want, you can use Materia Transmutation. At the same place you unlocked Materia Melding, you can perform Materia Transmutation after doing the quest Marvelously Mutable Materia. You put in 5 materia and get 1 materia in return of a similar grade. It is always recommended that you put sets of 5 of the same grade of materia in, as in that case they will always award either the same grade or at a small chance 1 grade higher, effectively upgrading your materia in a way. Of the 5 materia you put in, the one you get in return cannot be the same as any of the 5. So, if you put 5 different materia in, you effectively remove them from the pool of possible materia you can get in return. Usually, there is only a possible profit from Materia Transmutation when your resulting materia is either crafting or gathering materia. As such, putting in 5 different combat materia of the same grade is the most likely to result in a possible profit. How much this is can vary greatly though, and I would recommend doing your own research before trying to flip a profit out of this. Personally, I prefer to just sell my materia either to a vendor outright or on the market board. To finish, let's very briefly cover how materia interacts with synced content. Basically, if an item is synced down in item level, all materia is immediately turned off and will contribute no stats at all. Additionally, the item being synced also specifically reduces the stat budget, meaning that in most cases, a synced down item may very well have both of its secondary properties completely maxed out. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, consider liking or subscribing to get notified when I post a new video. I also post reminders about new videos on my Twitter. And also, if you have any questions or anything to add, please leave a comment down below. Fun fact, in addition to primary attributes like strength, materia are also used to sometimes offer elemental resistances. This is sometimes reflected in a Realm Reborn gear that may also contain this. All of these materia may still exist in game, but simply state that they have no functionality anymore.